Welcome everyone, Tacoma Blend here with a closing line value, going live on YouTube right now to discuss the NCAA tournament. We had a great first weekend and finally just saw our first number 1 seed drop. Florida losing to Iowa outright. We got in on the 10.5 plus 10.5 for Iowa, so we won that bet along with a couple others, including who did we get? Let's see here. Forgive me. We did. We got in on. Where's it at? Tennessee. We got Tennessee minus 1.5. That one cleared. Kansas plus 3.5. That one cleared. That one should have went into overtime, but nonetheless, we covered that one. We missed on the Kentucky bet, and also the Utah State did not hit due to the hook. So, and Texas Tech as well. So we're going to end up finishing at, I believe, like just over, just a couple, maybe almost 1 unit up for today, leaving that first weekend as a net positive. So that's great. Thanks to a huge day yesterday. So, but let's kind of take a look at the first day of the Sweet 16 and first reaction. So we've got 4 games on Thursday. In the West region, Texas versus Purdue. Texas, I believe, is the lowest seed in the Sweet 16 right now as an 11 seed. Again, we keep seeing these play-in teams. One of them advancing. I think we've had a couple in the Final Four even, but Texas, we had them losing to NC State in the play-in game, and here they are playing Purdue with a shot at the Elite Eight. So gut reaction, Purdue just cruising right now. They didn't. Braden Smith didn't even play great, and their leader, their point guard, barely scored. Maybe I think got a couple buckets late. Just tons of turnovers and a couple assists, but like all in all, not a great game for them. What do? Still covered versus Miami. So Purdue minus 7.5 for me. You take that. You lay the points. Texas is a terrible defense. Big Ten has been cruising. I don't know. Gut reaction, Purdue, easily. Texas' season ends there. We've been riding a lot of the Big Ten teams this tournament, and that's been keeping us afloat. But this one, there's no choice. Iowa versus Nebraska in the South region. That's the second game for Thursday. Iowa just picked off Florida pretty great. Ben McCollum coming from Drake, bringing his playmakers over with him. I think their 3 best players are from that same Drake squad. Really good team. They beat, I think, Missouri last year in the NCAA tournament. They just beat Florida. It's great. Nebraska on the other side of that. Just what a scrappy game versus Vanderbilt. Thought Vanderbilt might pull that one off, and honestly, that ball rattled out. That I believe it was Tyler Tanner that shot that buzzer beater that just barely missed. What an epic game! Loved it. But Nebraska advanced. So got a 2.5 point spread on this. First reaction is lay the points yet again. Nebraska looks good. Iowa, of course, obviously did as well, but I just think that this is not a great matchup for Iowa. Lower scoring game with Iowa is always with a slow tempo. Nebraska's kind of a slower tempo too, but they shoot a ton of threes and they can play really good defense. They beat Iowa in overtime to end the season, so that was at home at senior night, so kind of surprising that they didn't get it done, and they also lost at Iowa, at Carver Hawkeye by 5. So, these two teams play each other pretty close, but I just think that, Nebraska finds a way in this one. So, laying the points on that one as well. Is anyone chatting on that? So, the next game we've got after that is Arkansas, Arizona in the West. Arizona just pulled away from Utah State, and Arkansas beat High Point. Close game again. High Point. Wow, what a season! They really beating Wisconsin and almost knocking off Arkansas. The way that Darius Acuff is playing, really just tip of the hat to him. So in that one, I'm not really sure who I've got. It's a tough one. It's Arizona minus 8.5 points. That just seems like too many points. So I think I'm going to be taking Arkansas in that one. Because I just think the A-Cup factor, it's like, Derek Rozian kind of thing. And I just think that he gets things done and keeps it closer. Maybe Arizona pulls away, but I just think that, I think you got to just take Arkansas on this one. Sorry, give me one sec. All right. So, last final game on Sunday is going to be an absolute banger of a game. Illinois, Houston. Two teams that are just cooking right now. Granted, I do think that Illinois hasn't started off on the, that great in these games, these tournament games, but they just pull away so convincingly. So I think that they're just really playing well. Stojakovic is kind of coming alive, and they just have so many weapons. David Mirkovic, not David Mirkovic, and then Wagler, of course, just Jake Davis, so good. On the other side, Houston, defending runner-up to the champion Florida Gators last season. Florida's now knocked off, so Houston playing in Houston, you just gotta take them here in this one. I think Illinois, presents some matchup problems, as they like to kind of stretch the floor a little bit. But I think that it's Houston's game on this one. The Illini streak ends. Houston advances. As we've talked about before, we really like the way that Houston's been playing. They had a rough 3-game stretch against some really top opponents, but they've since come alive and only losing in the Big 12 tournament to Arizona. Outside of that, they've just won in convincing fashion in a lot of these games. And Kingston Fleming's electric. So I'm going to lay the points one more time on that one. So to recap Thursday's games, we're talking about Purdue minus 7.5, Nebraska minus 2.5, Arkansas plus 8.5, Houston minus 2.5. So laying a lot of points, or taking favorites in 3 of the 4. It's been pretty chalky of a bracket, but I think this is good value on some of those. We'll talk a little bit more about Friday games, probably after Thursday games, but quick reactions. Oh man, I absolutely predicted the UConn line. I found that funny. We'll start with that one, even though that's the second to last game. This just pops up on the top for me because of following Michigan State here on the ESPN app. So UConn minus 1.5, and the under 137, total over under 137.5. Maybe a little bit of a homer pick, but again, I think Michigan State matches up well. Terrace Reed has been dominant, and I think that they can, the perimeter defense and the interior defense against Reed should be neutralized quite a bit. I think Jeremy Fears is a gamer and gets enough to get it done. So probably MSU money line on that for a little bit extra juice. But looking at the matchup, Ken Palm actually has MSU favored by 1 in this one. UConn doesn't get to the line a lot. They're one of the worst in the nation to do that. Not great. And they're also they're only ranked 200 in free throw shooting percentage. Just small things like that where, points matter in such a close game, lower scoring game. So I just think that, I think they got to go Michigan State with that one. So Michigan State money line is the gut reaction. We'll see once we get some time to kind of digest a little bit and see who we're liking, we'll maybe make some calls. All right. So what do we have for the next game here? Okay, so the first one on Friday is St. John's versus Duke. in DC. So this one is Duke -6.5. Man, excuse me, Nganga was back for some limited minutes, I believe, last game. So Duke getting a little bit healthier. I mean, we're gonna have to wait and see the injury report for this one because Foster didn't play. I mean, Nganga played 13 minutes. Made both of his shots, but 4 turnovers. So I mean, I don't know. We'll see. He's probably healthy next game. Caleb Foster didn't play, and that's a huge one. We'll see if he's available. But I would say probably St. John's. I think that their defense is legit. I think the ACC looks absolute dog freaking water, man. They're just, I mean, is Duke the only ACC team left? I think. Just let's figure this out. Duke ACC. What do we got? So Virginia out. Lost to Tennessee today. Miami, Florida lost to Purdue today. UNC sucks. They lost to VCU. Clemson lost to Iowa. Louisville lost to Michigan State. NC State lost to Texas. SMU lost to Miami of Ohio. Just conference kind of sucks. So I think Duke's a little bit overinflated, a little bit banged up. Almost lost to Siena. Almost lost to TCU. I think they get right. Maybe a little bit of an overreaction on the line, probably by a couple points based on how Duke has been underperforming. But 6.5 in a low-scoring game, totals at 142. It's actually surprising it's that high. I'd probably take the under on that. I think St. John's. You take the points with that plus 6.5. Oh, so we're still, I forgot, we're still waiting on the official score for this Bama Texas Tech game. It's 90-58 right now. That's a misread on my part. I really thought Texas Tech comes out and convincingly beats Bama to face Michigan, but no JT Toppin. They're just, not deep enough. Bama went on a crazy run. Might bring down this line, against Michigan. But I think Bama winning big probably, deflates that a little bit. And Michigan, having a little bit of an issue, or, they won by 23, but it felt a lot closer than that with St. Louis. St. Louis started missing their shots too late, So we'll be likely backing Michigan in this one. I think that even though I think, with Bama being such a fast-paced team, we saw these outlet passes from Michigan in the last couple games. You give them one opening and you see A.D. Mara or Morris Johnson or Yaxel just throwing what is like an NFL pass with a basketball halfway down the court, 3/4 down the court for an easy layup. I think that tempo for Bama does not coincide well with a good perimeter and interior defense like Michigan has, and I think they have the guards to defend the perimeter. We've been talking up this Michigan team quite a bit all season, and when they're locked in and they're engaged with their, they played down to Howard in the first half. They kind of played down a little bit to St. Louis as well. I mean, St. Louis is a good team, but they still played down to him quite a bit. I think that Michigan, whatever that spread is, -8, maybe? Just taking a guess, -9? -10? 8, 9, 10, something like that. 10. It's probably going to be a 10. I think Michigan covers. A lot of points, crazy to do against a Bama team that's on fire right now, winning by 32 against the Texas Tech team, but let's get after it. I think that's the move. Final game on Friday, Tennessee versus Iowa State. So Iowa State -4.5. Once again, injuries. We're going to wait on that. The fact that, Iowa State gets a late game on Friday gives Jefferson a little bit more time to potentially come back. I don't know if that was a high ankle sprain or a low ankle sprain or what that was officially, but, Joshua Jefferson is ranked as the number 2 in Ken Palm Player of the Year standings. He's just been so good, senior, you know, for Iowa State, and he's such an integral part of this team. But they get it done without him. They beat Kentucky by 19. You know, it's just Momcilovic is amazing. You know, they got a good team. They have the 11th most D1 experience. So like they're a deep team in that regard. They don't go that far into their bench, but you know, they're gonna have to if no Jefferson. So you know, but they got is it Heiser who played more minutes in those games without Jefferson. You saw his minutes rise up to 36 and 27. Those would be, I think, season highs. Oh, there's a couple 28 sprinkled in there, but hit some big threes against Tennessee State. You know, pretty good player. I think that TJ Olsberger has his team playing well. So Tennessee, you know, never really fully bought in on that team. But when the matchups are good, and they had a pretty good matchup against Virginia that we liked, and that's why we bought in on that. And yeah, I think they did beat Houston earlier in the season, so but losses to Kansas, Syracuse, Illinois, lost to Arkansas. I just think that Iowa State, you know, a little bit of a matchup problem. I think Ament and Gillespie has a little bit of some trouble with that backcourt of you know, Iowa State. So another favorite there. So to recap, first reactions. Obviously, we're waiting on injuries to see the outcome of those. But I'm doing Michigan State money line, so they're a dog in that one versus UConn. We're going St. John's plus the points. Might be good to get in on that sooner than later. I'd probably at least put like a half unit on that now, because if they announce any, you know, I would suspect that Foster's not coming back in time for that one. So, and then Michigan, we don't know the line, but I'm probably going to take Michigan as a favorite against Bama. Again, not a great matchup, and they're just cooking. I think Yaxel just continues to flip that switch into takeover mode and just cruises. And then again, Iowa State minus 4.5. So we're back in 2 favorites, 2 dogs in the Friday games, and 3 favorites on the Thursday games. So, all right. So I think that's it. What a great first 4 days of the tournament. Had some fun, made some money. Went big on the Michigan State game, and that proved to be very profitable. So comment below who we should be betting, what we got right, what we got wrong. Like and subscribe, and let us know what we should be breaking down for our next video. Cheers.